Think about the last time you cracked open a beer. You probably didn't think much about it. Just grabbed it, opened it, drank it. Routine. Ordinary. But here's the thing. That moment, that single ordinary moment, is the tail end of a story that stretches back further than agriculture, further than language, further than the human species itself. Because the desire to drink alcohol wasn't invented. It was inherited. And tracing it back takes you somewhere you wouldn't expect. Not to ancient Rome, not to medieval monasteries, not even to the first farmers. It takes you to a forest floor in Africa, 10 million years ago, where a small primate picked up a piece of rotting fruit and took a bite. That primate wasn't making a choice, it was just hungry. But the fruit had been sitting in the sun long enough for yeast to get inside, break down the sugars, and produce ethanol. The primate felt something. A warmth, a looseness. It didn't understand why, but it felt good, so it kept eating. And over millions of years, that preference got encoded. Primates, including our ancestors, evolved a mutation that made them roughly 40 times better at processing alcohol than most other mammals. Their bodies got built for it. Which means, by the time modern humans showed up, the appetite for alcohol wasn't new. It was ancient. So the only real question is, when did we start making it on purpose? The oldest answer we've confirmed comes from a cave in northern Israel called Rakefet Cave. Around 13,000 years ago, a group of people called the Natufians were living there. When archaeologists dug into the cave floor, they found stone mortars carved directly into the rock. The residue inside those mortars had traces of wheat and barley, soaked, fermented, brewed. Beer. Before pottery, before writing, before farming. That last part is the one that changes everything. The Natufians weren't farmers. They hadn't domesticated a single crop. They were still hunting and gathering, but they figured out how to brew beer anyway. Which means alcohol didn't come after civilization. It was already happening before civilization existed. Around the same time, 12,000 years ago in southeastern Turkey, something even stranger was going on. A group of hunter-gatherers was hauling limestone pillars, some weighing over 10 tons, up a hillside and carving them with extraordinary precision. The site is called Göbekli Tepe, and it is currently the oldest monumental architecture ever found on Earth. No farms, no permanent villages, just people who decided to build something massive. For a long time, nobody could explain it. Then they found the stone vats. Chemical analysis confirmed fermented grain inside them. These people weren't building a home. They were building a gathering place, a place to come together and drink. Some researchers now believe Göbekli Tepe is evidence that the desire for communal drinking was a driving force behind organized human labor. And that opens a much bigger question. Why did humans start farming at all? The traditional answer is bread. Grain is nutritious, storable, reliable. But Patrick McGovern, the world's leading expert on ancient alcohol, has spent decades arguing against that. He points out that making bread is complicated. You grind, you knead, you bake. Making beer is almost effortless by comparison. You soak grain in water, and fermentation does the rest. The desire to drink, he argues, would have been a far more powerful motivator than the desire to eat grain in a slightly different form. If he's right, then everything flips. Farming wasn't the foundation that made alcohol possible. Alcohol might have been the reason humans started farming. By 7000 BCE, the evidence gets precise. A Neolithic village in central China called Jiahu produced pottery jars containing residue from a fermented drink made from rice, honey, grapes, and hawthorn berries. The oldest confirmed recipe for alcohol in the world. And it wasn't crude. It was a blend, carefully designed by someone who understood exactly what they were doing. Here's the short version. 10 million years ago, our ancestors evolved to seek out fermented fruit. 13,000 years ago, they were deliberately brewing before they knew how to farm. 12,000 years ago, they may have been building monuments just to have a place to drink together. 9,000 years ago, they had recipes. Every time you open a drink, you're continuing something that started before your species had a name for itself. The cans got colder, the labels got fancier, but the impulse is the same one that sent a small primate reaching for rotten fruit on a forest floor 10 million years ago. We just learned how to make it on purpose.